This will be my criterion D for my computer science internal assessment. This is a chess game commissioned by a teacher at my school who runs a chess extracurricular. This document has my success criteria and also my test plan, which I'll use to evaluate the functionality of my program. So my success criteria is basically the game should follow chess conventions as set by FIDE, which basically means that pieces are only allowed to make legal in the context of the individual piece moves. Pawns can be captured through en passant. Kings are allowed to castle either side. Pawns are promoted to queens when they reach the end of the board. The game ends when the king is taken, which explains in the context of the individual piece section, and some form of online functionality in the form of multiplayer. I was able to achieve 5 points of my success criteria fully, one of them partially, and one of them I was unable to achieve in any capacity. So, looking at my test plan. So the first thing to check is that the GUI appears correctly when the program is run, which is this, what we're looking at right now. So we can say that that's a success. Check black cannot play on a white turn. This is currently a white turn. I'm going to attempt to move any black piece, and I'm going to be unable to because this is white's turn. Then we have check white cannot play on a black turn. So I'm going to move this pawn, and now I'm going to attempt to move again as white, and I am unable to because it is black's turn. From this we can see that white and black turns alternate. Next, we should check that pieces of the same color cannot capture each other. For example, this queen has no legal moves, as it cannot capture any other black piece. For example, even if I were to have a legal move here, cannot capture any of these other pieces. Next, we have check if en passant is working correctly. Or sorry, check pawns can move 2 spaces on their first move only. For example, this is currently white's turn, and I moved this pawn 2 spaces previously, and I'm going to attempt to do so again. However, I am going to be unable to, as pawns can only move 2 spaces on their first move. Check if en passant is working correctly. En passant basically involves after a pawn has moved 2 spaces through a space where a pawn of the opposing color could have captured it, you are still allowed to capture it. So it looks like this. Ideally, we should test it for both colors. So I'll just waste a move as white, move this black pawn into position, and bam, en passant for both colors. Check if castling is working correctly. So I'll attempt to castle both colors, and you can castle either king or queen side. Castling king side involves castling this shorter distance here, and as it's currently white's turn, I'll just quickly make it possible to castle king side. And this is what castling king side looks like. Then we also have castling queen side, which is longer, as we are castling this direction. Which either way, the king is going to move 2 spaces, but in this case, the rook is going to move 3 instead of 2. So yeah, need to First of all, clear the space between the king and rook. Waste a move as white. And we can castle queenside. Check if promotions are working correctly. This was the part of my success criteria, which was only partially achieved, as there was a visual bug which I was unable to fix. So, basically, once a pawn reaches the end of the board, then that pawn should become a queen. And in fact, this pawn has actually become a queen. However, due to a visual bug, the sprite for the pawn will not change to the sprite for a queen until I have moved this pawn. So, for example, now the sprite is correctly updated to a queen. Or this bug is common to both colors, and I'll just show the same thing happens for black. And then finally we have check if the game ends when a king is captured. So the quickest way to do that is probably just to take this. Yeah. And now, after I have captured the black king with the white queen, a message is displayed, white wins, and I can no longer move any pieces on the board, and the game is now over. And as you can see, I have met follows chess conventions as set by FIDE. I have met pieces are only allowed to make legal in the context of the individual piece moves. Pawns can be captured through en passant. Kings are allowed to castle either side. I have partially met the criteria that pawns are promoted to queens when they reach the end of the board. And I have met that the game ends when the king is taken. The only criteria I was unable to meet was online functionality, mainly due to time constraints.